All right, welcome back to Draws and Fades. I'm your host, Owen Vrabel, joined by my co-host, Matthew Miller.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back.
And we have a special guest this episode, former WG's FedEx St. Jude winner, former Australian Open winner, former top 10 at multiple majors, business owner, businessman, Abraham Ancer. Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on. We had the opportunity to meet you briefly at the LIV event in Bedminster. We're happy we could finally make it work, get you on. Your LIV season wrapped up, at the end of October. You've had a little break since then. What have you been up to? What's going on?
It's been nice, man. This is the first time that I've had an off season, so I'm really excited. Body feels really good. I feel like my body needed it too. I'm going to spend some time with my family up here in San Antonio and down in Mexico as well. Been going to my ranch, which that's my happy place. I love it. I love being out there in the middle of nowhere, and I enjoy it. A little bit of hunting, but mainly just hanging out there with my buddies and family is what I love to do. And obviously, it's hard. I try to stay away from golf just to get a real true break, but it's hard, and especially if the weather's been pretty nice here in San Antonio, so it's hard to not touch the clubs.
Right, yeah. And so when will you start really ramping up again for the next season?
Usually what I do is I on the physical side, I stay on it. I don't really take breaks. I feel like that's an aspect that I have to really stay on top of it just to prevent injuries and be ready to go. So I see my trainer every single day that I'm in town, and if I'm not in town, I have a specific either a workout or stuff that I need to do just to keep getting better. And then golf, I just go out and practice whenever the weather is. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, but I mean, I'm not going to be out there in December if it's 30 and blowing sideways and raining. So if it's like that, I have a couple places here that I can go and hit some balls and chip indoors as well. So pretty much when weather permits, I'm gonna be out there.
Cool,
awesome. So just to give our listeners a little bit of background on you. You were raised in Reynosa, Mexico. Can you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into the game to begin with, and when you realized that this is something that you wanted to legitimately, start pursuing?
Yeah, I grew up in a border town, like you said, Reynosa, Mexico, and golf wasn't really that popular. Really, all in Mexico. I mean, it's getting a lot more popular now, but it's definitely a big step or a big dream to make it on a big tour as a professional coming from Reynosa. But that was my dream since I was a little kid. My dad introduced me to the game when I was in diapers when I started. I mean, I got pictures when I was just a newborn there at the golf course. So I've been playing as long as I can remember. I love growing up in Reynosa, and I have tremendous memories in that golf course. If you see it, you probably wouldn't think it's the greatest golf course, but to me, it's the best place in the world, and that's where I learned how to play the game, and I love it. And then after that, when I got to be 15, I played in little junior tours in all around Mexico, and some events if we can afford to go out there and drive in the U.S. to play some little bigger junior events. We'll do that. But yeah, when I was 14, 15, I decided to move to the U.S. across the border to try to give it a go and learn English and just make the transition to college a little bit easier. And it just I got lucky. I played good golf at the right time because in high school, and it looked so far away for me to make it on the PGA Tour at the time or the Korn Ferry Tour, and now LIV. It's been definitely pretty crazy how my career has evolved that way. But yeah, if you tell me when I was 14, 15 that I'm gonna be talking to you guys right here and talking about all this stuff, is definitely pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy, man, because so you came over from Mexico, went to college in Oklahoma, And kind of just going off of what you just said, I feel like people don't realize how difficult it is to play golf professionally. There are, thousands of people across the United States and across the world that are trying to play professional golf. So you played on the web.com tour. That's how you originally got your PGA Tour card back in like 2016, right?
Correct.
And then you had to go back to the web.com tour to kind of regain that back in 2018. And then you started to find, real success on the PGA Tour, multiple top tens, really started to find yourself. But even to get to that point, like what kind of advice, I guess, would you have for people that are kind of chasing that dream in terms of trying to stay patient? And I mean, it's like we hear these stories of people Monday qualifying into events, but to actually get that tour card to play on some of these bigger tours, it's not an easy task.
Yeah, I think it's just finding out what works for you. Because sometimes we like to listen to other players, other coaches, and they might not be wrong, but it's just stuff that has worked for other people. And golf is such a weird game that you get some of the top amateurs in the world, and they can't even make it through first stage of Q school, and then it gets a little mental there, and then you don't even see them again, which is crazy. And then there's some guys that you in college, they're like, well, the guy wasn't really good, and then ends up being a top 15 player in the world. It's just gnarly how that happens. So I think it's just figuring out that we all might be doing different things, practicing on different things, have different swings. And for me, I definitely struggled when I got to the PGA Tour my first year. I was so overwhelmed at how high and how long some of the players hit it, and I was like, man, I don't hit it like that. So I started changing my swing and equipment, and I mean that definitely spiraled down. I lost confidence. I played terrible. I lost my card, and I just had a good talk with some of I guess my mentors, and I was just like, what am I? I've never had a swing coach, but I had always people that I trusted to talk to, and they were like, well, why the hell did you change all this stuff? I mean, there's a reason why you got to the PGA Tour with your game. Why change it? But we're always looking to get better, so it's a slippery slope. So I went back to the drawing board. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go back to my clubs. I'm gonna go back to just playing my golf and just getting better at that. And I realized, I mean, I got my car back in that same next year, and then I got a lot better every single year, just playing my golf and just getting better at what I do.
When you struggle the first time around going to the PGA Tour, I mean, does any doubt start to creep in? Obviously, you had a ton of success before getting to the tour at every level, and now you're facing a little bit of adversity for, I don't want to say the first time, but at that stage. How do you kind of try to keep that confidence now getting back to that level, and now that you're there, that you will be able to compete at that level?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. That year was rough. I think I started the season with, I'm gonna be guessing like 11 or 12 missed cuts in a row. And when you come from having a successful year and then you're really excited to get going and you have the opposite of success, I mean, your confidence is gone. So you gotta just stay calm. And the problem is when you go from the web.com or the Corn Ferry Tour up to the PGA Tour, it's not like you're playing every single event. You're playing whatever you get into, and then you feel like if you don't make a cut or you're not adding up FedEx points, then you feel like it might be your last tournament the next time you play. So it just adds pressure, and then you're struggling because you're not hitting the ball like you want to. So it's definitely hard. And I just try to think, it's like, hey, if I go back to the web.com, it's not the end of the world, like I've done before. So I just try to think that way. It's like, I'm just going to give it my best, and I don't really care what happens. That kind of helped me towards the end. And that's where I started working on just getting back to how I play golf.
Awesome.
So you come up the second time around, you start having a ton of success, kind of as Owen alluded to before. You have a ton of good finishes. One thing that stood out, to us and made us fans of you, aside from your success on the course, is that off the course, you also kind of have this businessman side. You're an entrepreneur. You have, the tequila brand, which we'll get into in a second. But You also have Black Whale Apparel, which you're co-founder of, and I think it's pretty cool. You wear your own brand on the course when you're playing, instead of being an ambassador for another brand. How did you decide to kind of go down that route and create your own brand instead of just wearing something else?
And by the way, you're rocking it really nicely. The hat, I see the goat hat and the polo. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
We're rocking our Black Whale today.
Absolutely. So I was not very into really business when I first started as a professional, but then I realized I took my back 1 year. Nothing major, but I was like, man, like if I get hurt or what? I mean, I got nothing. I better be coming up with something that just plan B. And then I met Aaron Marquez, which is with my partner in all these companies. And I met him in a pro-am playing golf in or what's it in Fort Worth for the Colonial tournament.
Okay.
And another Mexican guy, just we hit it off right away. We started bouncing ideas, and at the time I didn't really have the money to start a company or the time, but I had good connections and ideas for Flecha and the tequila company, and we started working on that. And him being pretty much a mentor on the business side really woken up my entrepreneurial side, and I fell in love. I got the bug of starting something from zero and assembling a team to make a company successful. And I'm not saying they are super self. I mean, I think we're on a really, really good path, and hopefully they will be. But it's been an incredible journey. I've learned so much, and I feel like it even helped me in golf because I was so focused in golf, and that's all I thought about. That now and for the last 4 years, I've been outside the golf course, and I'm not thinking about golf at all. I'm thinking about, because I got to do other stuff. How are we going to fix this? How are we going to make this better on whatever company it is? And once I get to the golf course, I block all that out, and I'm excited to go play and just zone out and just enjoy the golf. So I think it's been really good to me. It was definitely a little tough the last 4 years because I didn't really have any free time for me or my family. That's why this has been so nice this having an off season, because we get a little bit of a balance on that. But yeah, that's kind of how it all started, and now I'm involved in Flecha, Black Whale, Ombre, which is pretty much anything a guy needs to take care of your hair, skin, beard. I mean, you name it. We're coming out with some really, really cool products here early next year. It's going.
That's awesome.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say we're all aboard the Black Whale Apparel train. So if you guys haven't checked out Black Whale Apparel, go do that now. Their shirts are awesome. The goat hat that Matt's wearing is fire, and we love it. So that's awesome. Piggybacking off that, like in the entrepreneurial sense, Flecha Azul is also your partner with Mark Wahlberg on that. And it's funny, actually, my girlfriend met Mark at a radio station out here in LA recently. She works for Atlantic Records.
mm-hmm.
And he did promise us a bottle of tequila, by the way. So we're hoping we get that at some point. But I mean, how'd that relationship come about? And, did that happen kind of organically, or did you guys get introduced to each other?
Yeah. So, I mean, that happened. That's the cool thing about it. We were a little skeptical because we didn't want to go that route. Me and Aaron are the founders, and we started the company and all that stuff, right? But then there's so many celebrity tequilas and celebrity spirits now that we didn't want to be going that same route. And I've known Mark from golf tournaments and stuff. I know he's a golf nut, and we send him some Flecha as a gift, and to his partner as well. And he is a partner in multiple, obviously, businesses. Our distributor knew his partner really well, and we just sent him some Flecha just as a gift. He really enjoyed it. We played some golf. He actually flew in. He was filming a movie in the Bahamas or somewhere like that. He looked like a caveman because he had to look like that. I was like, what is wrong with you? I've never seen him like that.
Right.
And so he stopped in Tequila, Jalisco, where we make our tequila, and he got to see everything. And he was like, holy smokes, he loved he loved the product, loved everything, loved how authentic and real the product is itself. And he's a guy. He's like, hey, I'm not a tequila guy. I'm not gonna come out there and be like, this is my tequila. I've been working on it for years. I mean, this is you guys' baby. I just wanna be a part of the team and promote it and get it everywhere. So I I think that was a great approach to things, and we're not trying to promote something is not true. And he's a hard worker, man. He grinds.
He's a hustler. Yeah, that's what my girlfriend said. He was an awesome guy too, just to chat with, and he was talking to everyone. Kind of just a great ambassador, it seems, for your guys' tequila. So that's really cool.
He is, man. He's a good guy.
Good dude.
Easy to talk to. Loves golf. He plays at 18 holes in like an hour and 20. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. What's his? What do you think his handicap is?
It depends. I feel like there's some parts of the year where he plays a lot, and probably gets to be like a 5.7 handicap. I feel like.
Okay.
But then if he doesn't practice for a long time, then it might go a little bit up. But I think that's where he hovers around.
That's sick. It's better than me. So
one quick follow up on the Fletcher. When are we getting it in Pennsylvania? I've been waiting to try it out. It hasn't hit the state yet.
I'm pretty sure we're there now. We should be
really?
we should be there 95% of all the states by this month. So I'm gonna double check right after the podcast, because I don't want to go grab my phone right now and tell you, but I'm pretty sure we finally got it to Pennsylvania. It was a little tough to get it in that state.
There you go.
I'm keeping an eye out for it, but I just haven't found it. I guess I
go to the web. You can go to the website, the Fletcher website, and it's got a store locator and tell you exactly what store it is or where they have it.
There you go. All right, perfect. So you getting back into golf, you have these successful businesses. You're obviously doing really well on, the tour. In June, you make the decision to join Live. Can you tell us a little bit about that process? When were you first contacted? Kind of when did you realize that this was, a real possibility you were joining, and kind of what went into that decision to ultimately join? Can you kind of walk us through how that all went down?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all heard of rumors of this happening, and there was like multiple leagues that wanted to do the same, or nobody really knew exactly what was going on, and myself included. And then I played overseas in Jeddah actually, and we kind of got that, just pitched the idea of kind of what the idea was as a whole, but it felt so distant. Like, well, I mean, that's cool, but I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen, And then all that stuff happened with Phil, and that definitely on everybody's eyes, it looked like, well, that's not gonna happen, or if it was gonna happen, now it's for sure not gonna happen. So, and then after that, it got real, and then people started announcing. I was like, what the hell is going on? I really had no idea, because I didn't have any like offers or anything really at the time. And because when I looked at the idea, I think I love the idea. I love the team aspect. I like, now that I play there, I like it more than I thought I was going to, because I felt like that was really cool. But then when I playing it and having a somewhat of a season that we played, it was really neat seeing how motivated your teammates get, because you want to be that guy that doesn't contribute to the team, and we like to push each other. It was surprisingly, the team aspect was huge, at least for me, and I can tell with my teammates, they were the same way. I mean, I played with Sergio in the same group, and he was freaking fired up. I mean, making putts for par or birdie. I mean, he's pumping, and if I made a bogey or something, he's like, "Come on, we're gonna bounce back." And it was really cool to see that, and just every play that way every single week. I mean, you're still playing individually, obviously, but adding that layer of, or that aspect was really cool. Same thing with Carlos. I played with Carlos when we won as a team in Bangkok, and man, we were fired up trying to pump each other up to make some birdies coming in to stay on top. So I mean, I've never felt that, obviously, in in another event. So I really like that. I feel like I talked for a long time there. I don't even.
No, you're good.
I got deviated from the question probably.
Nah, people would much rather hear you than us.
So, but it's funny because you talked about kind of the process of getting there and now, enjoying it, but there are definitely still critics out there. Some would say they try to downplay basically the competitiveness of the tournaments, that there has been so much money invested in you guys being part of the tour that you guys aren't as motivated to play well, essentially. And with that being said, I'm under the impression that you guys are still hungry to play in the major championships. So with that being said, do you think that OWGR points are on the horizon? And what's the players' feel of that? And how is that going to relate to your thought on playing in these majors coming up?
Yeah, I think the motivated part, I think that is backwards because I have never grinded so hard before these events, and I am more motivated than ever to play golf and live in majors. Obviously, we all want to play majors. Obviously, the money is really nice, and you feel like you definitely secured definitely some good cash. But that I'm not even thinking about that when I'm out there. I see the guys that I'm playing against, and I just want to beat them. I can't. I mean, if I go play right now and I make a bogey, I am pissed. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't just I don't care. I wanna beat everybody wherever I go. It's just kind of in our nature, and I feel like most of us are that way. So yeah, the motivated part. Yeah, I don't think that people are just saying that just to, I guess, to say it. And there's going to be critics all over the place. And I'm not scared. I'm not scared of trying something new, something different from zero. Like I said, starting companies, it can be a little scary, and you just don't know how it's going to go. You just gotta trust. You gotta trust the idea. You gotta trust and believe what you represent and what's good for you, and just go with that. So I wasn't necessarily scared because I knew that I believed in the idea and
Right.
it was the right decision. But yeah, motivated wise, man, I am extremely motivated.
And then moving forward is are the OWGR points something that is talked about amongst the players? Like, how close do you guys think you are to obtaining that? Because obviously,
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely, everybody wants them, obviously,
Yeah.
right? But it's hard to, and I understand on the other side as well. I mean, if there's criteria that you have to meet, and I get it, it's their rules, and I feel like it's just the problem is that how real are the rankings now? You know what I mean? That's just, and I'm not saying it's their fault. It's trying to figure out what's the most fair approach to this, because I feel like these events are, it's very similar to WGCs. I mean, in a way, how there's no cuts. I guess it is one less round, but other than that, I mean, it's really competitive, and you got some of the best players in the world over here too. So
Yep.
it's just figuring out a way that is fair for everybody. We're not trying to be like, yeah, we need points and we need all the points in the world. We just want something that is fair for everybody, and it will be a true ranking. I don't know how far away we are. Hopefully, we're close. I mean, I'll be lying to you. I have no idea if we're gonna get them tomorrow or in a year or.
Right.
Yeah, I wish it'd be tomorrow. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
So I don't keep dropping.
Do you think guys are kind of set on the 54 holes? Like, say, for instance, in order to meet the criteria, you had to go to 72 holes. Do you think anyone would have a problem, making that adjustment, or is it you just want to do what you have to do to get the points?
I think if that was the only thing that was going to impede getting points, I think it will go to 72. That's my guess. I don't know. But
Right.
yeah, I feel like all the players, I wouldn't have a problem going to 72. Not at all.
So right now, the only way, obviously, for you guys to get points is to play events and other tours and try to, get good enough finishes to get some points there. the media has kind of tried to pin, Live and the PGA Tour against each other, and Live, versus the other tours, and in some, aspect, the commissioners have kind of fed into it a little bit. But since you've joined Live, you played in the Open Championship in July, you played in the BMW Championship in September, I believe that was. You interacted with some of the players in those other tours. Like, what's the general perception of the players, the individual players? When you went there, was there any kind of like hostility or awkwardness from guys in the other tours? Was it normal? Was there, curiosity actually about how things are going on Live? Like, kind of how were those interactions?
I think there's definitely a lot of curiosity, and I feel like I'm a guy that gets along with everybody really well. I've never really been a guy that you'll see me going back and forth with the guys, especially on social media or anything. I feel like if I gotta say something, I'd rather just go and talk to him in person. And nobody has said anything to me. They've said some stuff. Where was it? At the BMW, for example, Billy Horschel said, what's Abraham Ancer doing here? He's never supported the DP World Tour." I'm like, Billy, we play the same amount of DP World Tour events, and you're older than me. I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, if I see him in person, they never said anything to me, to my face, or anything. It was the Open. Everybody was really cool to me. Nobody, like I said, everybody was like the same.
It's funny you say that about Horschel, because there was, I mean, at least from an optics perspective, it seemed like there was him and Poulter, I believe, on the putting green of that event. Seemed like they were having like a little bit of an altercation, but he didn't really approach you at all in terms of like a face-to-face, like, yeah. Okay.
No. I mean, what is he going to say? He's like, I was like, Billy, I didn't know you were Mr. DP World Tour. We play the same amount of events, and he's older than me. He's been a pro for a little longer than I have. So it's like, I've been a member of the DP World Tour for the last 3-4 years. So I mean, I have a minimum amount of tournaments that I had to play every year, and I made that number for the exception of this year, because it just got weird, and I definitely don't want to go play somewhere that you don't feel welcome. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it.
Right. But so other than that, like Matt had mentioned, I mean, you were getting into the Open Championship. You kind of haven't really felt too much animosity otherwise?
No. Like I said, no, it's been pretty normal for me.
The guys who are kind of curious and approaching you about, your experience so far on Live, do you think a lot of guys are more kind of open to joining than what the media at least is leading on?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of players that want to be in Live, but there's just no room anymore.
Wow.
Okay. So because obviously there was a lot of roster, I guess, movement last year. Is there, for moving into 2023, are the teams pretty much set? And I mean, like, what goes on behind the scenes? I know the Fireballs obviously had pretty good continuity with it being you, Sergio, Carlos, and Eugenio for the whole season for the most part. I guess what goes on behind the scenes when there is someone that's added to the roster, and how does that work?
Yeah, and like I said, what people need to understand, this 8 events we played. I didn't play the first one, but that was just the trial run. That wasn't even a full season. Next year it was going to be another still of a trial run, but everything went so well and moved so quickly in a positive way that they were like, let's just go for it and then just do the real first season. So next year is going to be the first time that we actually see somewhat of what it's going to be. I mean, it's still obviously developing. This is the first time this tour exists, and they put on a series of events, so a season. So there's definitely moving around, and there's a lot of contracts and stuff that needs to be and if you sign somebody needs to come out, and there's some contracts that are not for long term, and it's just that way. But there's definitely not that much room left, or at all, So I don't feel like it's going to be tremendous amount of movement for the next season. But yeah, I mean, I know my team, or Sergio's team, we're staying the same, and it's kind of nice knowing who you're going to be playing with, teammates, and.
So you don't necessarily think there'll be like a big splash of another top 25, top 50 player that kind of makes a switch before the 2023 season?
No, I feel like they will. I mean, I don't even know because I hear so many things, on social media that you don't even know what's real, and I just rather see it whenever it's announced to be like, oh, okay, that was real. I mean, so I just even stop asking. I don't really care. But yeah, I'm sure there will be some guys that sign for the beginning of the next season. Yeah, but I don't think there's gonna be many. No.
Okay.
So, how did you guys how did they decide who was on the Fireballs? Like, did you guys kind of choose to play together, or are you like assigned your initial team? Like, how did that all work? Because I know it seems like a lot of the teams are like, at least like you guys, the Stingers are like South African, Majestics are all kind of England. Like, do they try to group those guys together, or do you kind of pick who you're playing with?
Well, I think you can't just like pick, obviously, but they definitely want to make teams that make sense and want to target a market, right? Like, I mean, we got two Mexicans in the Fireballs and two Spaniards. I feel like they want to keep it that way, just so you can have somewhat of a culture behind the team, and so having that, or a country or a couple of countries behind one team, just makes a cool story and just makes sense for teams like this to be successful.
Okay.
So I guess it's a mix of live and the captains and players trying to figure out what makes sense, because obviously they want you to be playing somewhere you're comfortable, or playing with people you want to be playing too.
I'm sure they want to make it as
Yeah,
competitive as
it's not
possible.
like, hey, you have to go there, you got no option. No, but it's just more of like, hey, what makes sense? Let's make some really good teams that everybody's happy,
Right. Okay.
and that makes sense.
Right. So we shouldn't expect to see Brooks and Bryson playing together.
Probably not.
All right.
As far as those teams and kind of winnings and everything like that, I wanted to kind of just see if I can get some clarity from you. There was a report earlier in the year by Brandel, and he had said basically that the winnings in the tournament were kind of taking back paid out of your initial signing bonus, and false.
I would have not signed if that would be the case. No, hell no. But maybe I'm just talking about from what I signed in my
Right.
contract. No, I mean, I would have not signed that. Maybe there's some guys that did, that maybe needed some upfront money, and they were like, well, at least I secure this, and if I make money, they take it off of that. But I would have not signed that. No. So my contract is not like that. No.
Okay. So you can only speak for yourself, but in that contract, you're
Yeah,
getting
I
paid.
mean,
If you win a tournament, you're getting paid.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that would suck. Like, you just won a tournament, and then you're like, you just get nothing.
No, yeah, that's why. I mean, when we heard these stories, we're like, why would they want to do that? Obviously, it's still life-changing money, but then that goes to the competitiveness question that I asked previously. Like,
Exactly.
so
Like,
obviously, you guys are still.
Why would
Yeah.
that guy want to win? It doesn't make any
Right.
sense. So
Right.
no, I mean,
So
I'm
that kind of
sticking for my
debunks a lot of
contract.
those arguments that people made that you guys don't care about winning. Obviously, besides of the competitive nature of you guys in general and being world-class athletes, you also have these giant purses that are available for not only the individual aspect of the event, but also for the team aspect. I mean, Dustin Johnson made an absurd amount of money last year. I think it ended up being like $35 million.
Yeah. And all of that was on top of his signing bonus. He wasn't taken off of his signing bonus. Yeah.
Right. So.
And his signing bonus alone was, I mean, he was one of the highest paid golfers ever.
Yeah.
In terms of earnings. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty unreal. Pretty unreal. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to do that. So yeah, I would definitely not gone for that.
I know you said you try to kind of just block out the critics and the haters and stuff, but does it ever get frustrating that like some of these guys are like legitimate media personalities, and they're kind of just blindly throwing out these reports, and it seems like it's kind of to just throw a little taint on Liv, and you know what I mean? Like Owen was saying, he probably was saying that, and maybe it's true for a few contracts, but not for everyone. The way he phrased it was that it was for everyone, and that kind of then downplays the competitiveness. Like, does that get frustrating at all when a lot of the stuff being thrown out is just
when the information is not accurate and it's just shaming or putting out some just negative stuff, and on top of that, it's not true. It can be definitely annoying. I know when you're trying something different and it's not what people or some people don't like, it's just going to create controversy. And it was just a shame that players and media from the sport get so involved in it. It just kind of like, because I don't want to have any problems with any other player. I didn't know I had to ask other players if I could go somewhere else and provide for myself or my family or whatever it is. I mean, people. I mean, it's not like you're doing it and you know what I mean. It's just you're a free contractor. You can do what you please to do. You're not. We're not. I'm not trying to hurt any other tours or anything. I got out this opportunity. I thought it was really cool. It was great money, obviously, and why is that a problem? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the standpoint for the most part that we've taken, and we've gotten frustrated with the misinformation that seems to be put out there. That I mean, after being at one of the events in Bedminster, we kind of noticed how I mean, for the most part, guys are in good moods. Obviously, but there is still a competitive golf going on, and people are upset when they're not playing well, and people are excited when they are. And I think that kind of gets lost in all of the mess that's gotten spewed on social media. And so we'll see how that continues moving forward. I think there's been more clarity, and you hopping on this interview, I think, will provide more clarity for people as to actually what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, and none of that. I mean, like I said, I can only speak for myself, but I didn't play my best golf this year. It was definitely a different year, obviously, with all this going on, and I was never been so frustrated that I just didn't. I wanted to play good so bad. Maybe I added a little more pressure to myself just because I wanted to play so good, really, really bad, and I can't wait to start the season. I'm excited. I'm pumped, and I've never, like I said, I've never felt this side of motivation like this, and even like this is a great example. Even Pat Perez with all the stuff that he said and he cashed in and he's loving it, whatever, and but he's like, you know what? I'm out there in the gym, and I saw him at the gym working out quite a bit. Almost every time I was there, I saw him. I was like, well, I've never seen him in the gym ever before. So even all this mess, I mean, the guy is motivated, and he doesn't want to be that guy that doesn't contribute to the team. So you know what I mean? I mean, you can hear all this noise on social media, but behind doors, I mean, he's grinding, and he definitely loves to have a good time, and he's very vocal and he's hilarious, but the guy is motivated. You don't want to be that guy that is not contributing to a team.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because we saw him at Bedminster, and I think it was after the third round, and he was pissed. I mean, he wouldn't talk to anyone, and then they ended up winning on Sunday, and his mood, obviously changed. But just kind of seeing him live in person, I could tell how angry he was about the way he played.
It's funny now we got a headline: Pat Perez, gym rat. People, who would have guessed?
Yeah, I've seen him out there working out, so I was like, wow, this is really cool. I never got to see him before. Maybe maybe he works out all the time, but I'm pretty sure he didn't work out that much.
So I did kind of want to talk about for the majors upcoming this year. Obviously, we're excited for the live season as well, but for the major championships this year, your history in majors has been, I guess, kind of with an upward trajectory. You've had a couple of top 10 finishes at the PGA. Obviously, we're in the final group at the Masters that 1 year with Dustin Johnson. Where do you feel the most comfortable in terms of major championships? Is there one that sticks out to you? And what's your preparation like in those weeks as compared to others?
I don't think you feel comfortable in any major, which is good. I like golf courses that are tough, and par is a great score, and I feel like in every major that's the case. It's weird. I feel like I would have been definitely really a lot better at the Open, at the British Open, but I finished 11th on this year, which was good finish. But other than that, I haven't really had any good finishes before that because I feel like I love that kind of golf, and it just results hasn't really been great. The PGA is the one that makes that one in the U.S. Open makes the least amount of sense for me to finish top 10, and I finished top 10 twice on the PGA. So it's just I just like whenever it's a grind fest and you have to make pars and figure out a way to stay around par and do that. So the Masters, I love the Masters. Is such a unique kind of golf. You have to be extremely precise, and I love that. So that's another place that I feel comfortable. This year, I didn't even I should have not even played it. I had to withdraw from the Valero the week before here at home. Um, on
Yeah.
that stuff that I told you that I tweaked my back. The doctor was like, I will give it another 2 weeks, but I was like, I can't skip the Masters, so I went there and played, and I didn't play without practice rounds. Didn't hit a full shot until the day before the tournament, and obviously if you're not prepared at the Masters, you got zero chance to compete.
For what it's worth, we still bet on you that week. So.
Sorry, but I didn't. You should have. Well, I guess you didn't have my number there, but that would have been insider trading. So I can't help you there. Sorry. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the Open because me and Owen were talking about, before you came on, how we feel like that's kind of the perfect fit for you too, just in sense of, you've played really well in Australia, and I think there's some similarities where you have to kind of use some creativity, and there's different ways you could play different shots. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's definitely a major that you're going to have, a lot of success in moving forward, at least, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that comes also, I mean, the Open is also, you got to get lucky with your wave. I feel like the first two, I got the bad waves, and it was really hard. I didn't really play very good on top of that. And then last week I got a pretty decent wave. It was somewhat similar both ways, but it was a little bit better on my end, I feel like. And I played pretty good, except for one day that I think it was Saturday, and then I played really solid on Sunday. Played really well. I think Bryson or Cantley made birdie on 18 to bump me out of the top 10, and that would have locked. I think playing next year for sure if whatever happens, if I don't have enough points to remain on the top 50 by that time. So I was like, damn it. But
so which majors are you locked into right now?
well, if they allow us to play, I should be in the Masters. I still be. I think I'm around 30 in the world right now, and they do a cutoff at the end of this month. So I will be into that. The PGA at top 10, so I should be in that too.
Yep.
I guess the British and the U.S. Open, they're the ones kind of up in the air.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of fitting into that, if those are kind of your opportunities to definitely play well and secure your spot in majors moving forward and get a lot of points, how does it change this year with, you have now kind of a set schedule with Live versus before you can kind of create your own schedule, and some guys like to play the week before a major, or some guys like to take that week off. I mean, I'm sure you have the schedule in advance, but how does that sort of change your preparation going into an event? Like, do you typically like to play a lot of events consecutively leading up and then get a week off? You don't have the ability to kind of choose that this year, unless you wanted to travel to, Asia or something.
Correct.
What's different?
No, I feel like I was looking at the dates, and I feel like for me it all worked out nicely. That I'm not playing too much leading up to one, and then I'm like, wow. So that's a nice thing that we don't have many tournaments in a row. As in, like, you'll never see more than 2 or 3 live events in a row. They're all spread out nicely. So I feel like it works out perfect, at least for what I like to do for majors. I don't have to really tweak much, so that should be solid.
Okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense. And I mean, like Matt said, some guys are different than others and what they like to do to prepare. So how excited are you to have an event in Mexico this year?
Dude, I am so pumped.
Yeah.
That is one thing that I told my agent when I was debating of signing. I was like, well, if we're not gonna be allowed to play on the PGA Tour, I mean, that's when that happened already when I already signed, and Carlos also signed. There was like, man, we're the only 2 Mexicans on the PGA Tour. We feel like we didn't want to. That was one huge thing that would kind of hurt us. Is I was like, we're not gonna be able to play Mayakoba. We're not gonna play Mexico Open in Vidanta as well. It's like that sucks.
Yeah.
Because we definitely wanted to play, even if we didn't get paid or whatever. We just were supporting Mexican golf, you know.
Yep.
Wanted to be there. But yeah, obviously we weren't allowed to go to Mayakoba, and then getting this news, I told my agents like we got to find a way to get a tournament to Mexico. I never in my life thought it was going to be Mayakoba. I just wanted to be in my country, wherever it made sense, and it just happened that we're going back to Mayakoba, a golf course that I really really like. One of my favorite resorts and hotels. There's 4 hotels that are incredible, and I think is a perfect setting for a tournament for Live. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I figured that you'd be pumped about that. So did you know that was on the horizon when you originally signed, or it was just kind of like a hopeful thing?
Well, I just told my agents like we have to push as much as we can to bring a tournament to Mexico, and it makes sense. I mean, it's not like these guys definitely want to hit every market that Live will be strong on, and it just makes complete sense. And they love the idea, and I don't know how it came about to Mayakoba, but there we are. We're gonna start there next year.
So you're at what, 14 events this year for Live?
14 events, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that going to continue to expand?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. To be honest, I have no idea. I don't think they're gonna. It will grow way more than that. I think they want to probably keep it around there. Maybe add a couple more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a couple more questions for you before we let you go. But so we're traditionally a gambling podcast. We like to talk about the golf gambling aspect to each event and why we think certain players are going to play well certain weeks. But I'd like to get your, I guess, feedback on if there's a guy, could be on the Live Tour, could be on the PGA Tour, a guy that could be a dark horse at a major championship this year that maybe people don't talk about enough.
Ooh, a dark horse.
It could be. It can't be you because we're already going to bet on you for all the majors. So.
That's a great question. A dark horse, somebody unexpected. From Live or PGA Tour?
Yeah, could be anyone. I know I put you on the spot here.
Yeah. I was gonna say Neiman, but he's not a dark horse. He's pretty damn solid.
Yeah. That's funny. We're big Neiman guys too.
Yeah.
Well, his countryman made a pretty good run last year.
It's a good too. Yeah. I think Carlos. We've been obviously playing a lot. He's doing some good work with Edo, his swing coach now, and I think he's getting to a spot where he's getting a lot of confidence in you. I think. And I've never seen him being that motivated as well. He's been getting after it, and I think he's in a great frame of mind. He's loving life, and I think he could be a dark horse. So I'm gonna go with my countryman.
All right,
I like it.
Which
I figured that could have been an answer.
The problem is we definitely got to we need some points so we
got to get him into one first.
We got to get into the events. Yeah?
Yep.
One more question for you now at the majors. 2023 look ahead. Which one do you feel like you have the best chance to win this year, and why?
2023. Well, the best chance right now either going to be the Masters or the PGA because I know the ones that if we are allowed to play, that's the ones I'm playing for sure. But a lot of people say that somehow the easiest one to win will be the Masters just because the field is smaller and in a way. But I feel like that's a golf course that I really enjoy, and it fits my eye from the tee as well. Although I wish I could hit it another 30 yards farther so I can carry some of those bunkers and stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that it'd be nice to have a green jacket.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Abraham, it was awesome having you on, man. We really appreciate it. For all you guys listening out there, make sure to go check out Blackwell Apparel. Make sure to get yourself a bottle of Flecha Azul. Check out his company Hombre as well. Hey man, we really appreciate having you on, and we wish you all the luck this year, and hopefully we see you again at one of the live events this year.
Thanks so much, boys. I really appreciate it. We got to have some Fletcher together soon.
Hell
yes, I'm gonna hold you to that.
All right, boys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.